Looking to take your financial knowledge to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to Ask Ralph, offering accounting, technical, and financial advice. Whether you're looking to save taxes or improve your business, he's got you covered. Here's your host of Ask Ralph, Ralph Eastup Jr.
Hello and welcome back to the Ask Ralph Show. Today we're going to kick off a series called Franchising Success. And this is going to be a multi-part series where we talk about the different aspects of a franchise. Now, this series is going to be pretty comprehensive, and it's going to be over several sessions. So if you miss a session, make sure you go back and take a look at our podcast site, and you can download the previous series points. Now, today we're going to talk about franchise basics, but in this series we're also going to talk about pros and cons of franchising. We're going to talk about the associated cost of having a franchise. We're going to talk a little bit about franchise law. Although I'm not an attorney, I'm not going to get real in depth with the franchise law. We're going to take a basic tertiary course of that. We're then going to talk about franchisor controls, those things that the franchisor controls. We're going to ask the basic question, is a franchise right for you? Once we answer that question, we're going to look at ways to find franchise opportunities and how best to select a franchise. We're going to get into an in-depth discussion of the franchise disclosure document, which is called the FDD. We're going to talk about the top 10 reasons to buy a franchise. We're going to talk about 15 mistakes to avoid when starting a franchise. We're going to talk about the 8 steps in how to buy a franchise. And finally, we're going to end up with a discussion about the hottest franchises in America. So like I said, buckle in. We're going to have a very interesting series as we go through this. And like I said, if you miss a session, feel free to go to our podcast site and you can find one of the numbers in this series. But like I said, today we're going to start off with franchising success, the basics. And really, we start off with a very simple question. And what is a franchise? Well, franchising is simply a method for expanding a business and distributing goods and services through a relationship, a licensing relationship. A franchisor, that's the person or company that grants the license to a third party for conducting the business under their marks, not only specify the products and services that will be offered by the franchisees. Now, the franchisee is the person that actually is granted the license to do the business under the trademark, but also provides them with an operating system, brand, and support. And that's the key to the franchise model. You're buying a brand name in most cases. You're buying a license to sell a product or a service, but you're also buying a way of selling and promoting that service. So it's really what they call a turnkey approach. And we'll talk a little bit about that, as we get into this. Now, at the front end, there's really 2 types of franchising relationships. The first one is called a business format franchising type, and that's the type most identifiable to the average person. In this format relationship, the franchisor provides to the franchisee not just its trade name, products, and services, but an entire system for operating the business. In this particular type of situation, a franchisee generally receives a site selection and development support, operating manuals, training, brand standards, quality control, a marketing strategy, and business advisory support from the franchisor. Now, in this United States, there are about 120 diverse industries using franchising as their route to marketing. These would be such things as automotive, beverages, business services, children's services, cleaning, maid, and janitorial services, education services, food services, of course. That's probably what most people recognize. Health and fitness. That's another one a lot of people are familiar with. Home services, home-based businesses, retail products and services, senior care and medical services, which is an area that is really developing quickly, and travel and tourism. Now, the other type of franchising situation is, while less identified with franchising, traditional or product distribution franchising is actually larger in total sales and business format. In a traditional franchise, the focus is not on the system of doing business, but mainly on the products manufactured or supplied by the franchisor to the franchisee. In most but not all situations, the manufactured products generally need pre- and post-sale service as found in the automobile industry. Now, examples of these would be such things as bottling, like Coca-Cola bottling or Pepsi bottling, gasoline, automotive, and other manufacturers. So this is a great example of sort of like the Exxon model or the Shell oil. But all of this really boils down to what is a franchise in its most basic form, and that is it's about relationships. Many people focus on the law, The law is certainly important into this, but it's not the central thing to understand when franchising. At its core, franchising is about the franchisor's brand value. And that's really what we're talking about. Like the Coca-Cola product, there's value in that. It's also about how the franchisor supports its franchisees. What are the services they offer? What kind of national advertising does the particular product do? How does a franchisee meet its obligations to deliver the products and services to the system's brand standards? And most importantly, franchising is about the relationship that the franchisor has with the franchisees. And that's really what it comes down to is, how strong is the relationship and how much support are they giving the franchisees from the franchisor? In 2014, a survey by the Franchise Business Review on franchisee relationships with their franchises, it was determined that, and here's some great statistics, 90% enjoy operating their business. 88% of franchisees enjoy being part of the organization. A lot of times there's a camaraderie with this. You'll see these franchise meetings. Oh, you're the Miami group. Oh, and you're the North Carolina group, or you're the North Dakota group. 85% feel positive about their affiliation with the franchisor. And that's important because if you don't have a good relationship with the franchisor, the mothership, if you will, it's really going to be a difficult business to stay involved in. 83% respect their franchisor. I think respect's important. If you don't have trust in the person that you're or the group that you're franchising from, that could be a problem. 80% feel that their franchisor operates with a high level of honesty. Again, that's important because as we get more into this, we're going to talk about, national buying, and national advertising. Is the franchisor doing enough to support that? 78% would recommend their franchise brand to others, and 73% would say they'd do it all again if they had the option. So that's an important part of this too. It's the relationships between the franchisor and the franchisees. And like I said, it's really about the brand. A franchisor's brand is its most valuable asset, and consumers decide which business to shop at and how often to frequent that business based on what they know or they think they know about the brand. In truth, they really don't care about who owns the business so long as their brand expectations are met. And that's really the key. If you're driving on let's say you're taking a family trip and you're thinking about lunch and you see, a franchisee like a Burger King or a McDonald's, well, you kind of know what to expect with that. And that's the key to that. The average consumer could care less who owns that particular franchise of the Burger King or the Wendy's or the Hardee's or the Carl's. And we'll talk about some of those. They really know that what they're interested in is it going to be the same experience that they've experienced at other locations? And that's the key to this whole franchise model. Now, in our next session, we're going to talk about the systems and support that franchisees offer their franchisees. Franchisors offer their franchisees. And like I said, this is a multi-part series, so if you've missed something, go back to our podcast site and pick up from the beginning or grab those episodes that you missed and make sure you tune in next time.
You've been listening to Ask Ralph, brought to you by Saggio Accounting Plus. Please subscribe to and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a rating and review. Our podcast is produced by Carolyn Peters. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Ask Ralph Media. You can also hear me each week on 1450 WILM and on 1410 WDOV in Delaware and on the iHeartRadio app. Submit your questions or ideas for future shows by sending an email to AskRalph@AskRalph.com.
The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Saggio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.